What's up? What's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's your main man, Relly Rails. Got a good one for you today. Today, we're going to help you decide if you need to lease or buy your next vehicle. But first and foremost, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like icon and smash that notification bell. You know what I'm saying? Gotta also share it so we can bring your friends on over to the channel as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the facts on lease versus a buy. Also, I'm going to give you my personal opinion, which might not really mean too much to too many people, but it's my personal opinion. I bought several cars over the years, so I might be able to help you guys out and give you a feel for, lease versus buy and stuff like that. I know plenty of people that have leased cars their whole lives and stuff like that, and I personally bought most of my vehicles, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going to give you all the details you need to know on the lease versus buy. We're going to talk about 10 categories comparing lease versus the buy, and then we're going to talk about a little lease versus comparison to give you guys some numbers so you can basically put it in front of you and see actually what's going to happen with the lease versus the buy. First up, we got ownership. When it comes to ownership with leasing versus buying, okay, now if you're going to buy the vehicle, you're going to finance the vehicle for the full price. So once that loan is paid off, you own the vehicle. It's yours to do what you want. Please sell it, do whatever you want. Now, when it comes to leasing and ownership, you have that vehicle for the duration of the lease. Then you must return that vehicle in, of course, same condition you got it in or whatnot, minus the miles that you put on it. But you never own the vehicle. So in that aspect of ownership, if you love to own your vehicles outright, it'll be best for you to go with buying versus the lease. But if you're the person that needs to have or wants to have a new car every 3-4 years, then leasing may be the way to go for you on that aspect. Okay, now next we're going to talk about upfront costs. Okay, now if you're going to just buy the car outright, you got the cash price plus tax, tags, so forth and so on. If you're going to finance it, you have a down payment plus tax, tags, and all applicable taxes depending on what state you're in. Now, when it comes to the upfront costs about leasing, you're going to have possibly the first month's payment. You're going to have an acquisition fee, as well as you'll have like your taxes, tags, and stuff like that, and a down payment. And those are typically pretty, steep when it comes to the leasing, depending on what kind of car you're leasing and so forth and so on. All right, now when it comes to the monthly payment, okay, when you're purchasing a vehicle, you're going to be paying on the entire price of the vehicle in your loan, okay? So you have interest fees, whatever your interest rate may be low, may be high, you know what I mean, depending on your credit. You're going to be paying, finance fees and stuff like that. So your payment's going to typically be higher on a buy than when you're leasing your vehicle. Now, when it comes to the monthly payment of a lease, like I said, they're typically lower because you're going to be paying basically on the depreciation of the vehicle throughout the term of the lease. So that's why your payment's going to be lower. They got some other small fees that'll be in their taxes and stuff like that. They got things like they call, renter's fees or something like that. Please correct me down in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's why I typically on a lease, the payment is lower because you're just paying on what's going to depreciate. Just say you got a 3-year lease. In that 3 years, how much that car is going to depreciate, that's what you're making a payment on. All right, now the next one we're going to talk about is early termination, okay? Now, when you're buying your car, you can trade it in or sell it at any given time, you know what I mean? Long as whatever you sell it for, you're able to pay off the remainder of the loan if it's not completely paid off already. You can trade it in. If you trade it in, the money they give you from the trade, you can actually apply that to the loan to pay it off. You know what I mean? And you'll be, pretty much in good shape. So always kind of stay in the green with your cars between the value and actually what you owe on the vehicle. All right, now, when it comes to an early termination with the lease, you may run into some problems because you got to think, you sign a contract, whether it be 3 years, 4 years, or whatever, you're inside a contract. So a lot of times, the dealer's going to tack on early termination fees. Now, you may find a dealer out there, and I've heard of a couple that will kind of look out for you. They'll kind of buy the lease off and kind of let you off the hook, when you're dealing with those excess fees and stuff like that. So when it comes to this category, I lean towards the buying option because if I want to get rid of the car, I can just outright sell the car, or I can just, trade it in and use the money to pay off the remainder of the loan. Okay, now when it comes to what they call return of the vehicle, okay? Typically, like I said, when you're buying, you can trade it in, you know what I mean? And whatever money will be, if you want a new car, trade it in or keep it and just go buy a new one. You know what I mean? That's on the buying side. Now, when it comes to the lease, at the end of your lease, you must return the vehicle, okay? And you have to pay any kind of in-lease fees there are. So I'm not sure how I feel about turning the car in and then having to give them some more money. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm more on the buying side. So when it's time for me to get a new car, I sell it outright, which I prefer to do, or just trade it in, you know what I'm saying? Get your new car. But on a lease, you got to get a car back, and you may have to pay any type of fees, end of lease fees there may be. Okay, next we're gonna talk about future value when dealing with the vehicle. Okay, of course, we all know as soon as you take the car off the lot, it starts depreciating in value. Okay, but any value that you have in that car is yours. You know what I mean? Especially once it's paid off. If you go pay cash for the car or whatever, any value in that car is yours. Simple as that. You know what I mean? And outside of if you're still financing it and you're in the green, the difference between what you owe and what the car is worth, that's pretty much your cash value in that car. Now, when it comes to future value in a lease, it's cut and dry. Any value in that car is not yours. You know what I'm saying? So on the good side, you're not financing, the total price and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But on the other side, you don't have no value in it. You know what I mean? You turn the car in and that's it. Okay, next topic we're going to talk about is mileage. Now, this one is very key on the lease side. Now, on the buying side, feel free to drive as many miles you want. Drive cross country and back 2 or 3 times. But remember, the more miles you got in your car, the lower the value of the car is going to be. So keep that in mind. Don't go run up, thousands and thousands of miles unless you want to, because if you're buying it, it's your car. You know what I mean? I preferably be try to conserve the miles on my car. Now, when it comes to leasing, okay, it's a total different story. Most leased vehicles, they're going to give you about anywhere between 12 to 15,000 miles to drive a year. Me personally, I know I drive more than that, so that's why I would stay away from a lease unless maybe this would be a secondary car, like a weekend car or something like that. It would probably work for me, but as my main car, it's definitely not going to work, because if you go over that mileage, per year, you're going to have to pay, and that's included in those end of lease fees. You know what I mean? Whatever the percentage might be 35 cents per mile over, might be 50 cents per mile over, might be $1, who knows? You know what I mean? But I don't want to be limited by how many miles I can drive when I purchase a vehicle. Okay, our next topic we're going to talk about is excessive wear and tear on the vehicle. Hey, if you buy any excessive wear and tear, is just that. You know what I mean? A lot of wear and tear will, of course, bring down the value of the car. You know what I mean? So try to keep the car in good condition and stuff like that, just in case you may want to trade it, may want to sell it. You know what I'm saying? Or you might just want to keep the car forever. Who knows? Pass it down and stuff like that. But when it comes to excessive wear and tear, if you buy it, it just is what it is. You know what I mean? Take care of your wear and tear, and you're still good to go. All right. Now, when it comes to the excessive wear and tear on a lease, hey, at the end of the day, if the dealership deems it being outside of excessive wear and tear, you're going to be on the hook for it. You're going to have to pay for it. So that right there would lean me towards buying a car versus leasing a car. You know what I mean? Because who knows what they may deem to be outside of excessive wear and tear. I know, your normal tires and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But, you have to make sure you read the fine print on those details if you decide that you want to lease a car. All right, topic number 9, end of term. When it comes to the end of your loan term, that's if you financed and didn't pay cash. That's it. You own the car outright. Any kind of value the car has is pretty much yours. Done deal. You know what I mean? You paid the loan off, whether it was 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I think they're going to 7 years now, you know what I'm saying, to finance a vehicle. But, you know what I mean? Whatever is, value in the car, it's yours. Now, when it comes to the end of term with the lease vehicle, you may have the option to, purchase the balance of whatever the car is worth, or, you know what I mean, you could turn it in, lease you another one, or you can buy another one if the lease didn't work out for you. You know what I mean? So, like I said, just remember on that lease, you have your fees and stuff like that when you turn the car in. You know what I'm saying? So you can feel free to lease again, get the next newest model, and go from there. Like I said, I know people that love to lease cars because they want cars every 3 to 4 years. All right, our last topic is customizing, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for this one. Okay, when it comes to customizing your own car, if you're buying a car, you can do whatever you want to it. You can paint it hot pink, you can paint it doggone lime green. It is your choice to do what you want to do with it. You know what I mean? Because you're purchasing the vehicle, you have financed this vehicle. So now on the lease side, you can only do certain modifications that when at the end of the lease, if you remove those modifications, there are no defects on the car. You know what I mean? So you don't want to go and add a body kit to your car because you're gonna have to drill holes, so forth and so on in it. You know what I mean? I've seen most people that I know that lease their cars, that they want to change the color, they'll wrap the car because you can just pull the wrap off. They may put aftermarket wheels on the car. I wouldn't, because I feel like that would be a waste of the lease, but I've seen it done before, and they just take them off and maybe sell them after the fact. You know what I mean? But you don't want to be doing anything that's going to have them drilling holes in the car or doing any kind of permanent damage to the car, because when you turn it back in, they're going to tack that on as excessive wear and tear. It's going to be tacked onto your end of lease fees. You know what I'm saying? So you do not want to do that. So be careful. Of course, you could tint the windows and stuff like that, because you pull that right on out. All right, so those were our 10 categories to basically compare buying versus leasing. So where do you guys stand at right now? So down in the comments below, put which one you would lean towards, and let me know which one at the end of those 10 categories you think you would go towards buying versus leasing. Okay. All right, now we're gonna do a small comparison for you guys. Okay. So we're going to talk about a 6-year buy finance versus a 3-year lease. So typically on just say the 6-year finance, your payments is $416. On a lease, you may be looking at about $289 or something like that. And on on the buy, you're going to put down $2,000. Typically, with the lease, you're going to have your upfront fees. How you seen on the commercials where say, hey, $4,900 due at signing. You know what I'm saying? So you have to make sure you take note of everything due up front before you can take those leased vehicles. So when it comes to the cash due at signing, if you're buying a car, hey, like me, I don't put any money down on the car, okay? Because when I'm coming in, if I've traded cars before, so I'll come in and basically the car will take care of that. But typically, when you're in a good position credit-wise, you don't have to put no money down. I'm not going to put any money down. You know what I'm saying? Because if I typically I'll go through my bank, you know what I'm saying? And I'll finance from my bank. Don't need to put no money down. Get a check from a bank, go buy the car. You know what I'm saying? But I have used financing at dealerships before because it has an amazing interest rate. And what I'll do, I don't put no money down. And after a year or 2 years, I'll refinance to my bank. That's just what I've always done. All right, now, so looking at those numbers, just say, for instance, on your finance, you get 3.9% financing. You may look at, within those years, paying about 17 grand, so to speak. And with the lease option, you may spend around 12,000. You know what I'm saying? So, you look at that and see, well, how much do I actually want to pay, so forth and so on. And that will help you also lean in your direction on whether buying or leasing is best for you. So remember, when it does come to buying versus leasing, if you like ownership, you probably want to buy. If you like the new every 3 or 4 years, you probably want to lease. Now, me personally, I'd rather buy a car. You know what I mean? Because I like to do modification to the car. I like driving the car. You know what I mean? So I don't want to be restricted. Well, I can only do this. I can only do that to the car. Or when it comes to miles, it might be October and you're already at 12 or 15,000. Hey, you can't drive the car unless you're going to pay the penalty. You know what I'm saying? So I've known people that have went over the mileage, and it wasn't pretty when they went to turn that car in because they had to write a check. You know what I'm saying? For the excessive mileage, and it wasn't cheap. You know what I'm saying? So me personally, I like to, have, be able to do what I want to do with my car. The value in the car that I'm paying into the car, that's mine. You know what I'm saying? So maybe one day I may lease a second car. So I'm not totally against leasing. So don't misconstrue it. I'm not totally against leasing. But maybe for a secondary car that I'm not going to drive every day, maybe on the weekends or maybe on vacation or something like that. You know what I mean? That's when I may lease an additional vehicle because they do have real cheap payments on the lease, and you can flip them every year or so. You dig what I'm saying? So that aspect seems pretty cool when it comes to leasing. All right, guys. So I hope I helped you out today. I hope I helped you get closer. If not, make your decision on whether you want to buy or lease your next vehicle. You know what I mean? Each one has its perks. Each one has its pros. Each one has its cons. You know what I mean? So, hey, take that. Make sure you do your homework thoroughly. As always, don't go into the dealership until you're ready, until you've done your homework. Don't test drive that car until you're ready to buy, because that's their trick. They want to get you in that car to fall in love with that car. You know what I'm saying? So watch my previous videos on car buying tips. Some great tips in there to help you go through the process of buying your car so you won't get hoodwinked, you won't get bamboozled and all that stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's your main man, Relly Rails, and another informative video for you. I'm about to get up out of here, but first what I need you to do is please hit that subscribe button. Also hit that like icon and that notification bell so you'll be notified of all future videos. And do me a favor, hit that share, bring some folks over to the channel and get them to hit that subscribe button. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to get up out of here. As always, hey, much love. Your main man, Relly Rails, up out of here.